Change. About time for us to get started. Our warm-up that I want us to think about before we jump into the content of John chapter 4, the first major narrative of that chapter, in verses 1 through 45, is what are some obstacles to people talking openly with one another?
Don't know where to start.
Good thought. We'll write that down once after our prayers, if you will. Lord God and Father in heaven, we're so thankful that you have blessed us with brothers and sisters who are humble enough to approach your word with open hearts and open minds, and to hear each other as we study your word. We pray that you will bless our study of John this morning, that we will gather something that we've not seen before or that will help us in our lives today. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Okay, so let's do our warm-up. We had don't know where to start as one option. Basically, how do you open up the conversation? How to start? Where's your opening? Right?
Prejudgment.
Prejudgment. There's actually a fancy word for that. Prejudice.
Yep.
Means exactly the same thing. What are some categories of prejudice that might keep us from,
Politics and religion.
Politics, really? Hey, those are impolite, right? Politics, religion can be kind of barriers, right? These differences between us that mean you keep it polite, you keep it shallow, right? Yes, ma'am. Sure.
You assume they won't listen.
They won't listen. Or maybe, you assume. Right? You assume. You think you know their heart. But then, maybe they would have, yes. Timing, sure. Can you expound on that?
Knowing when there's the right time to talk about something specific.
Okay.
And when to withdraw.
It's hard to know the right time. Yeah, that's true. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is a very incidental meeting, at least from the external view of it. Yes.
Or you're too busy to get into it right now.
Too busy. I got enough on my plate. Yes.
Until recently, we could talk about the weather.
Sure. Sure, that's
But
true.
now it's
Even the weather can be, yep, I guess the world's ending.
it has gotten politicized.
Sure.
With the environment and all.
Sure. I mean, yeah, either way, it's not a fun topic. Sir.
I don't know if this fits, but I won't listen.
Yeah.
The assumption that they won't listen
Yes.
kind of sounds like you just, you have your side and that's what.
Yeah, you are closed off and think you're open. You think you're open, but you're not, right? That's possible.
I gotta tell you a story
Sure.
that I just heard yesterday. Our son Rob and
Uh-huh.
his wife went to Dallas Fort Worth Airport.
Uh-huh.
They got delayed
Uh-huh.
like 8 or 9 hours. They
Wow.
said, "Oh, we're gonna give up on this, and so we're just gonna go home, get some rest, and drive there."
Okay.
But in the meantime, they met a young 22-year-old fella
Uh-huh.
who was trying to get to Salt Lake City. That's where
Sure.
he's going. Well, he got delayed too.
Yeah.
They made friends. He went home with them, spent the night, drove all the way to Albuquerque with them.
Wow.
So they had a good opportunity to talk about Mormonism and their beliefs and everything else.
Wow.
I mean, it's just a natural, you know.
Cool. So
You take opportunities as they come.
So an obstacle then would be, why wouldn't someone bring up the obvious thing to talk about in that context?
Well, politics and religion, those
Sure.
are two most things that affect your lives. And so instead of politics or religion, it's God and country.
True. How about, I mean, why wouldn't someone bring up these things then? What? Fear. We're afraid. Fear. is a big one.
Fear of rejection,
Fear of rejection, fear of,
not knowing how to answer.
just being vulnerable. Yeah, so many different kinds of fears.
Ruining a relationship.
Yes, fear of ruining a relationship. We got along okay just talking about the weather.
Afraid of not saying the right thing.
Right. Afraid of messing up, right? Fear of your own inadequacy. Fear that,
I don't know the answer.
you're taking an opportunity that someone else was better suited to. And that you are stepping into the place of someone who would be successful and failing ahead of them. And potentially ruining things forever. Right? These are reasons why we tend to clam up about important things, right? Or have real open conversations. Why small talk exists. Because big talk is scary. Okay? Big talk can ruin relationships. I've seen it happen, right?
We got someone killed last week.
Sure. We're looking at John 4. I want us to read little chunks and have little thought questions as we read. Okay? Why do you think John points out that Jesus was tired from the journey and sat down at the well? What does this detail tell us about his humanity? This is sort of an intro question to get us thinking along our sort of lines that nothing's in John by accident. There are lots of symbolic, spiritual resonances with every detail. I think you'll find that even here. Do I have a reader for verses 1 through 6? Someone who wants to volunteer, read out loud. Sir, go ahead.
Therefore, when the Lord knew that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself did not baptize, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again to Galilee. But he needed to go through Samaria. So he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar,
Sure.
near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied from his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour.
Okay. 6 hours, about noon, just so we're aware. Hot out. What is the meaning of saying that Jesus is tired? Yes.
Shows man.
He's a man. You walk from city to city. You're going to be tired if you're a normal person. And apparently, Jesus is pretty normal in that regard. Yes, sir.
But it also leads into what Jesus is going to do when he's dealing with this lady.
Sure.
It shows that even though he was tired and
Right.
went out on the journey, often as we get that way, we just want to be left alone.
Sure.
We want to sit and rest. Not Jesus.
Sure. Yeah, maybe, I mean, here's a question. Jesus had, a need here, right? Needs. Could he, obviously maybe he could make some kind of miracle happen where a spring popped up out of the ground and gave him water. But him being in need here, what did that do in this moment? Create an opportunity. If Jesus is like, I'm fine actually, I'm not thirsty or anything.
Speak of a different thirst and a different
Exactly, yes sir.
And it's neat because the needs are going to be a key theme throughout this whole thing.
Exactly.
We're going to have the need for water, and we're going to have the need for food at the end
Right.
and everything. So it does seem like there's something to that.
Yes. We're talking about, Jesus begins the conversation with, understanding thirst, understanding weariness, understanding need. That's key to his relationship to us in general, I would say. That if Jesus didn't understand temptation and sin from a first-person perspective, how could he have done what he did? Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
He also sat down in a public place.
Yes.
Everybody comes to the well for water.
That's true.
So he's hoping that someone will come
Right.
along and bring him
He didn't.
He's setting the same.
Yes, he adopted a posture of openness already, waiting for somebody to come. I think we covered that. Yes, ma'am.
I always think about, in order for Jesus
Mm-hmm.
how we as humans feel.
True.
And relate and act. And so he had to have all these human traits in order to be that mediator for us.
You're exactly right. It's hard to speak for someone you don't understand. It's hard to justify somebody who you can't explain. And Jesus has been there, yes.
On the same level.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, because he's up here.
Right.
So he
And,
had to come down here where we were.
right. I mean, and Jesus experienced even basic things like this, but it resonates with the fact that he is one of us.
Well, we could say that God created us, so he knows how we think and how we feel and everything else.
Sure.
But for us to relate to Jesus and to God,
True.
we have to know that he understands
Goes both
personally
ways.
what we are. So he came for us, not
Right.
for himself.
Right. So it was less a research project of Jesus and more meeting us halfway, right? Meeting us where we are and showing that you can get through this life and walk with God. Yes.
It's kind of like with each other, right?
Mhm.
It's hard, it's hard to help somebody who's going through something.
Mhm.
If you've gone through something yourself,
Sure.
you're able to help them.
Of course.
If they go through it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a weak position to be in where you're like, wow, I bet that's horrible. And you have nothing else to add, you know. Wow, that's pretty bad, I bet.
I know exactly how you feel. And he said, no, you don't.
Right, exactly. And that, even if, you know, it doesn't come as direct as that, you can feel people being disingenuous or ignorant of an experience when you're, you know, sharing. So Jesus was far from privileged with immunity to our basic problems. He was weary. He was sick. He was tired.
Okay, I understand that. But if you want to, they had to go over on their way to where we were going. They had to go find a bush.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay? They had to go find a bush.
Yes. Yeah. It was.
I mean, that's what, you know.
It was a more wild world than we are accustomed to. Much more naturally, nature was much more in your face, not under control as we like to pretend it is sometimes. Yeah, I think we covered that. 7 through 15 is our next little chunk we're going to read, and we have a few questions about that displayed on the board. Does anyone want to read my next few verses for me? This next little paragraph?
I will,
Go ahead.
a woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, give me a drink. For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. When the woman of Samaria said to him, how is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealing with Samaritans. Jesus answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is that says to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would give you living water. The woman said to him, sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? And are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well, and drank from it himself, as well as his sons and his livestock? See, 15.
Yep.
And Jesus answered, whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst, but the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water, springing up into everlasting life. The woman said to him, sir, give me this water that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw.
Right. Okay. We'll start at the beginning. Why might it be surprising that Jesus asks this Samaritan woman for a drink? They're from different, and not just different,
They're enemies.
enemy cultures for the longest, ever since really the return of the Jews back to this region. There's been conflict with this group of people.
Well, it's also that's another opportunity to
Sure. And it's interesting calling them Gentiles because, like, they're children of Abraham too. They were once considered Hebrew, like you know. So
Either Jew or Gentile.
right, exactly. But interestingly, and that's going to be really important for something that happens later, which sometimes we forget the significance of it. Anything else that is kind of, we can kind of wrap our second question into it. There's the cultural divide, obviously. The Samaritans and the Jewish people do not get along.
It's also, the man wouldn't speak to a woman,
You don't talk to women out in public in this culture.
you know.
That can be improper, right? That could be considered a mistake.
The disciples were surprised that you would talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They walked up and they were surprised here later in the passage. I mean, any other of these obstacles that were crossed, or do you have something to say?
Just the difference between the Samaritans and the Jews.
Mhm.
The Jews looked down on the Samaritans. Most animosity came from their side.
Yes.
Because due to wars and
Mhm.
moving around, the Samaritans were a mixed race. They weren't pure Jewish.
Exactly.
So therefore, the Jews thought they were inferior.
That's right.
So the woman's very surprised that Jesus would stoop to
Right.
speak to her.
I mean, just the language you're using there, I mean, hopefully, everyone in this room sees how obviously ugly and horrible that attitude would be. Like, it would be more surprising to us who know who Jesus is for him to have a prejudice against Samaritans, right? For him to take that into consideration whether he is open or cares about somebody, right? But from her perspective, he's just some random Jewish guy. And random Jewish guys didn't like to associate with anybody from that culture.
Well,
Right, yes.
maybe Ron didn't say they were surprised he was talking to a Samaritan woman. They were surprised he was talking to a woman.
Yes, any woman.
Any woman.
If it was his neighbor and they were out by themselves, it's frowned upon, not a typical interaction you would have. Yeah. Yes, sir.
But thanks what's interesting. Where are they?
Yeah.
They're at Jacob's well.
Yes.
That's in the beginning, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's centuries before. So he's at this place
Right.
that's well known. They're Jacob's descendants just like he's Jacob's descendants.
You're exactly right. They do have that in
So
common.
he's at this common place in
Mhm.
history
Hmm.
that they all know. So he's communicating with them in a back before.
That's true.
God's plan. He's put it on an equal footing there.
She does say our father Jacob. She might have meant it as the Samaritan's father, but I mean, it is all their father.
Common place. It's before all the prejudice and stuff.
I mean, Jacob's name after the fact was Israel.
Yes.
So this is a place of Israelite identity
Yes.
that both of them claim. So it goes even farther back than Judah, the son of Jacob, right? So they have roots that are shared even deeper, and maybe that's exactly what why this is included as well. Is that the roots that we share? I mean, you go back and back and back and back.
Like you said, it's not by accident that they're at this point.
Exactly. Nothing happens by accident. John, Jacob's well. We all draw from Jacob's well. You know what I, you know. So there's the gender divide. There's the cultural divide. Yes.
It was typical of the Jews to avoid Samaria, so they would go over to the other side
True.
of the Jordan River and around it and not even travel through that. But it said in the beginning he needed to go through Samaria.
Sure.
So why? Well, perhaps he knew what was going to happen.
Sure.
And the opportunity that he had, he wasn't there just for the Jews, but
Sure.
for everybody.
Maybe he was on a time crunch. He's like, I'm not gonna go the long way around just to avoid some Samaritans. Maybe that was something like that. In addition to obviously knowing how important this interaction was about to be, but
Okay,
Yeah,
something else.
yes.
The warm-up, you said,
mhm.
how do you start? Well, Jesus, we can start the same way Jesus did, ask a question.
Yes.
Okay, and there are several people who come to my door in the last few months
Hmm.
trying to sell me something, and before they leave, I ask them what church you go to. Well, that's an opening.
Sure.
I want to know what their background is religiously. question. It's not invasive or anything like that. It's not,
Sure.
but it's something in this part of the Bible Belt, it doesn't break down much of it.
And not only that, but I mean, what Jesus did wasn't jump in with, you're a sinner, and you need to be redeemed by me, the Christ. He didn't start there. he opened with their shared need. We all need water, right? Can you give me a drink of water? I'm thirsty. He opened with shared humanity, with something shared, and then he moved on to more things that were shared. Our shared ancestry. Look at us. We're not so different, you and I. Sort of coming together, right? Before he draws any sort of distinction. Let's move on to the living water piece. Jesus says something, he's done this many times already in John, where he's having a normal conversation with somebody, and then he makes it weird. It gets weird right away because of something he says kind of out of the blue. It is a sort of a non sequitur. I think you'll find that John loves when Jesus says things that don't follow from the thing that got said. Nicodemus was like that. Nicodemus brought up like, so we know this about you, and he said, you must be born again. I didn't ask about that, says Nicodemus. I don't know what you're talking about, right? It's this sort of disruption of logic that Jesus often does. That happens here. What is going on with this living water?
Well, I was just going to say, I love verse 11, where it says, where the woman says, you have nothing to draw with.
Exactly.
How do you get this living water?
I don't see a canteen on you, bro. What are you talking about? Exactly. He's not making sense. Yes.
Jesus was here for a purpose.
Sure.
He knew what he was doing when he got here.
Uh-huh.
And he knew he was going to reveal himself to her.
Sure.
And she wouldn't be able to drive that conversation.
Sure.
There's nothing that she knew to say to get him to say
Right.
to the side.
He wasn't going to wait for her to arrive there on her own, right?
Making
So
her acknowledge her human needs as well as his human needs, because he's tired and he's sitting beside a well. Obviously, his physical body, he's thirsty, he's want to drink. So it's coming to her level as a human being, not so much as a society stature. It's
Right,
just
right.
one human to another, and having something to offer.
I mean, right now, from her perspective, who has something to offer and who doesn't?
She does.
She's got the jug. He doesn't. He has nothing to draw with. Right? Even if he has this living water, how's he going to get it? Right? And so, she understood this. I mean, how would we characterize her understanding of what Jesus says here? Kind of practical, maybe even literal. You know? I mean, what living? You don't have a jug to draw from. What do you? It's kind of like Nicodemus. Like, how can an old man be born again? It's a metaphor, my friend. Please, you're like 50-something years old. Yes?
That would be my first thought also. If he asked me for a drink and then said, "Let's live in water," he said, "Why are you asking me for a drink?"
Right. Wait, you have water? I'm confused. Exactly, yes.
And she took it the way everybody took the things like this that he said.
Mm-hmm.
Physical.
Yeah.
All physical, he's speaking spiritual, not spiritual.
Right. And to be fair, they were originally talking about actual water, and he changed.
And they were at a
changed it up.
well.
And they were at a well. It's not crazy to think he's talking about water, but it's hard to tell what exactly he's talking about if you don't already know what he's talking about. We have the benefit of knowing the whole story, but we're not there on a random Tuesday or whatever, getting a jug of water, and Jesus is sitting right there. We're confronted with him. She handled it pretty well, all things considered, yes.
He said this so that the woman would, and she did, want to know more,
Mm-hmm.
want to ask further.
He created a mystery.
Creates a desire to
Yes.
learn and to know.
Yeah, if the gospel is just something everybody implicitly understands already, what's there to learn, right? Jesus jumps into the fact that it's mysterious. I think it's good. But she was mystified by it. All she had was questions. So it had the desired effect, I would say.
Well, it's sort of like the parables of Jesus. He always took practical things that people would understand,
Mhm.
and then he would try to teach them something higher than this
Yeah.
physical world.
Sure.
Pardon me for skipping forward, but in verse 32, Jesus is going to do the same thing with his disciples about food.
Yeah, and they're going to be just as obtuse about it, as you'll find. So, I think we could say that her first understanding of this was very literal, and also not very complete. She didn't really have a strong understanding at all of what was going on or what he was talking about. We can move on, unless anybody has anything burning in their minds. Let's read verses 16 through 20. Do I have a reader for that?
Before you leave that,
Good.
we have no record of her giving him any water.
It's true.
She drops her pitcher and runs.
They end this conversation, Jesus is still thirsty. You're right. You're right. Yes.
And telling her it's gonna well up to eternal life.
Yes. That's a weird thing to say. That's a weird thing to bring up right now, sir. What are you talking about? It's kind of how most of us would respond. Like, I'm just here to get some water. Who's my reader? Sure, go ahead.
Jesus said to her, "Go, call your husband and come here." The woman answered him, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You are right in saying I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one that you now have is not your husband. What you have said is true." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive you to be a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship."
Yes. Okay. Immediately, we have Jesus is kind of zigging and zagging here. He brings up this living water thing, and she's like, "What's that?" And does he come out and answer her? What does he say instead of, "Here's what I meant by that"? He brings up her personal life by, I guess, feigning ignorance, pretending he doesn't know. What is he getting at here? Why do you think he does this?
Well, after he talks about, he brings up the living water,
Mhm.
and he realizes that she, and my reading of this, that she believes it's literal,
Sure.
and so he asks, "Go bring your husband."
Mhm.
Jesus knows all the answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
She answers correctly, tells her things about it. It's her life to
Sure.
be private
Yeah.
to this man that she's never met before, and now she's gonna have, who is this guy?
Yes.
Now she thinks he's a prophet. Now it's gonna go even further, and you can tell her answer when she goes into town.
Yes. So it's this escalation.
Could
Yes.
this be the Christ?
It's this escalation of the conversation. It's a revelation of his
Right.
power. Also, in addition to really revealing things about Jesus, what, boiling it all down, does it reveal about this woman? She has marital problems. Sure.
She has integrity.
Sure. She's independent. Yeah, she went out and gets water all by herself. Yes.
Well, I don't think he's bringing up her positive attributes here.
No. He's bringing up, I mean, at least a complex past, if not an outright sinful way she has conducted herself in the past.
Moving from a spiritual, from a physical need now to a spiritual need.
Exactly. That, oh, you think I'm the one in need because I don't got a jug to draw water from. How about you're in need? You got 5 husbands. You don't even know what this guy is. Who's in need here, me or you, right? Yes.
This is a minor miracle because
It's true.
there's no way that he could have known this.
Yeah.
And Nathaniel immediately started following Jesus when Jesus told something about him that he couldn't have known.
So it was knowledge. Yeah.
And it is personal for her now
Mm-hmm.
that he's
That's true.
recognized.
That's true. We're talking about her all of a sudden. Yes.
Brought up a difference in their, the way where they worship.
Mm-hmm.
You said they worship, you worship
Right.
in Jerusalem, but we worship in the high.
That's an interesting point. So how does she respond? What does she do when this gets brought up? When Jesus does this miracle, essentially reading her mind and knowing all about her, what is her response?
She's not offended.
She's not offended exactly, or maybe she is, but what does she say?
She says you're a prophet.
She says, you're a prophet. I've been meaning to ask a guy who knows what he's talking about. I mean, what can we call that but dodging the subject, changing the subject? She finds out, oh, this guy's some kind of holy man. I got a question for you, holy man. And brings up some like theological dispute between the Samaritans and the Jews, which is also random. They weren't talking about that at all.
Well, from what we have in this passage, it's obvious from the things that are being said that's written down,
Mm-hmm.
that we're to know that this conversation was a lot more than him. Because she goes down even further when we get down into verse 29. He told me all that I have ever done.
Sure.
All the things about it. And then talking about what you said about Jerusalem and worship on the mountain and stuff like that.
Mhm.
We don't read this here. So they're come, and often, throughout the scriptures, you can read that the conversations they've had has been a lot more than what's written on paper.
Sure.
Because it's not necessary for us to know.
I will say that the content here constitutes a complete narrative for the purposes of what it's conveying.
What it teaches, absolutely.
And I will say that what we see here is this abrupt change of subject, right? Why would someone do something like this? Why would someone have their sin brought up and then redirect? Yes, ma'am.
I feel like this is a question she's had for a long time, and she truly wants
There you
to
go.
know the answer.
There you go.
Right.
So she's like, put all my stuff aside for a second. What do you think about this? This thing I've been thinking about, yes.
He's leading her
Uh-huh.
to the point that comes next in the reading 21 through.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say, too, Jesus' response to her question is even more interesting. Because I read this as a diversion. Let's not talk about my husband. Let's talk about you Jews, and you say, oh, you can only truly worship in Jerusalem, but my people have been worshiping on this mountain forever, since before that temple was built. So what do you, who's right? Right?
Really haven't, but that's her.
That's her belief, right? Her understanding of her understanding of her perspective is,
The big Mount Gerizim.
yes, is this, well, we worship on this mountain over here, and you guys worship over there. I guess, can you explain that, smart guy?
Who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna, he uses her to reach
Mhm.
the Samaritans.
Well, not only, yeah,
You
reach
know.
the Samaritans.
He didn't want to exclude them, he wanted to include them.
And how, right? He includes them in a way he hasn't included his own people yet. And we'll get to that, yes.
He created a safe environment for her to talk.
Sure.
He didn't judge her, he didn't attack her.
Yeah.
Now, he brought up real uncomfortable things to talk about.
Sure.
But he didn't immediately push her away or
Exactly.
use blame or those kind of
Goes to
things.
this. He didn't,
Brought her
yeah.
into the conversation.
Yes. He brought her in, he said, hey, I know about you. And it suddenly became like, okay, this guy knows a lot. Let me ask what I'm really thinking about, right? Let me talk about what I'm really thinking about. And apparently it was this issue, this major division between the Jewish and the Samaritan people, was this difference of worship, right? The next verses are going to be really crucial in understanding this whole thing. So with your permission, we'll move right along. We can come back to this, yes.
Just real quick, I was just saying that something for me on the exchange is that just because you make note about somebody's background,
Mhm.
and it's kind of questionable or whatever,
Yeah.
I shouldn't assume that if they don't have things they've been wondering about that have pertained to Jesus.
Of course. Yeah, people who come from any kind of background can still have deep questions, and I mean, they're just like us, you know? Jesus understood that. This woman is just like him. A person. Thirsty. Need water, right? Moving on. We're going to talk about the spirit and truth thing. And we're going to put it in context of what in the world they were talking about, because it's really important. We kind of often take that phrase and have it be some kind of like thing on a shelf outside of this passage, and I think it really only makes sense here. in its entirety. So, do I have a reader for 21 through 26? Sir, go ahead.
Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming, and now is here, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him worship in spirit and truth." The woman said to him, "I know the Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all the things." Jesus said to her, "I who speak to you am he."
All right, thank you. Glad we got to this. Because it's pretty big moment. Let's start with this question. What does it mean to say spirit and truth in this context? What does he mean by worshiping in spirit and truth? Do we think?
Well, if it's a place where they worship, the temple was where God wanted them to meet him and worship him. And that would be, of course, in truth. That'd be the true way to worship him. Then, of course, the spirit would be more deeper than just doing what's right. You have to do it
Sure.
right.
Yes, sir.
For her question to be about where to worship, and then basically now he's telling her you're going to worship in spirit and truth.
Yes.
It's not going to matter where you worship.
Exactly. Where is worship? Where do you worship? You worship here and here, hopefully. Forget what mountain you're standing on when you do it. If you're not in here and in here, who cares? Yes.
God's removing the differences, so that he's accepting everybody.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not here or here. It's within you, yes.
The way their worship was set up, they had to sacrifice for their sins.
Exactly.
Forgiven at that immediate point till they sin again, and then they have to go offer another sacrifice. So
Right.
they had to go into this building where it was
Right.
set up, where
Yes.
it was separated from the regular worshipers and the priests, and then where the Ark of the Covenant was, and so they couldn't go in there.
Right.
And we can go straight to.
Yes, Hebrews really lays out that we have access now as the priesthood sanctified by Christ's blood. We have access to that Holy of Holies forever, right? Yes.
When I see that phrase, I think about the Old Testament, about when the Jews would do what you're supposed to do, but your heart was not in it.
There you go.
And I think about the Pharisees too.
Right. Worship correct or worship in spirit and truth are two different things. I think what you've landed on there. So she's asking, what's the correct way to worship? And Jesus basically answers her, soon everyone will know the right way, the best way, which isn't getting caught up in all that, but it's saying in spirit and in truth, which you can carry with you, right? And I did some research into that, the term truth used here. It's less truth meaning like this is true versus false. It's more like true in the sense of like actually worship will be in spirit and in truth, right? The true worshipers is what he refers to, right? He's saying that like right now we're in this period where we're getting to the truth. Soon the truth will be here, right? Yes.
And he's also alluding to the time when there will be no division. There's going to be Jews and Gentiles.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, worship.
Exactly. So, I mean, if they had to go worship at the temple, that would be a problem, right? Because if it's all over the earth, that would be kind of a hard trip to make. Zach, did you have something?
No, it's not.
Okay. Right. Anything else? Let's talk about this. Oh, not this. This. What is the significance of Jesus' revelation to her that I am he?
Wasn't this the first time?
Yeah. He never said to anyone else, including his bros who were out shopping for groceries. He didn't say to them, I'm the Christ, by the way. On record that we have. in John.
Well, he almost kind of had to,
Maybe.
because of the statement the woman made.
Yes.
She said, I know the Messiah is
I know
coming.
the Messiah's coming.
He's already here.
Yeah,
Well, he kind of put,
he kind of forced the issue a little bit, right? Is he going to be like, yeah, that's really interesting that the Messiah is coming? He's not going to keep it to himself at that point, right? Yes.
I just think from a humanity
Mhm.
standpoint, this had to be an exciting time for both of them.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Because he's trying to lead her to this
Mm-hmm.
revelation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like,
She brings it up.
I'm really excited about the Messiah coming, that's going to tell us everything.
Yeah, he's like, get this.
It's me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
she didn't totally disbelieve because of what she told her friends.
Can this be the Christ? I mean, he did.
Plenty of people have ran off this guy. Crazy.
Yes. Yes. So, he reveals to her, no big deal. I am the Messiah that you've been waiting for.
Well, she wouldn't have believed him unless he told her about her past.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
These things are written so that you might believe, right? He started with there and then made the claims about himself, right? So we can go ahead and summarize some of the next part after this comment here.
So you're excited about it because this is huge for so many reasons.
Mhm.
It's a woman, it's a Samaritan.
Yes.
It's the first time he says who he is. And then
Yeah.
one other thing that comes to mind is, I know that there's people who say that, Christianity is just kind of subjugates women.
Sure.
By misinterpreting some of what Paul writes.
Mm-hmm.
But the first person Jesus revealed himself to as the Messiah was a woman.
Yes.
And some other examples of women first. So Christianity, there's no men and women are equally valuable.
There is no male or female, all are one, right? Yeah, and exactly. So he chose a woman from an especially downtrodden woman from an already downtrodden population who is out here drawing water by herself in the middle of the day, doesn't got a husband to go talk to. She's the one. She's the one. Number one. I gotta make sure she knows, and then everyone else.
She checked all the boxes.
See, exactly. So that kind of leads us to a conclusion we can draw. What kind of people?
That's who we're looking
Well, what kind of people are we? Or are we to see ourselves as?
for. Just like that.
Should we be these people who have a lot of breaking down to do, like the Pharisees, and be like, well, I got myself figured out, basically? Or should we be more like this woman who's receptive because what she got? A jug?
She had a need. She
Yes.
had a need in her life.
She saw the need in her life,
She was looking for something.
and Jesus fulfilled it. These other people weren't looking, so why is he gonna give them anything? Right? Yes.
It's like Jesus said, he didn't come for the righteous.
Exactly. He didn't come for the health. A doctor doesn't come for the healthy. He comes to heal the sick.
And he used a fisherman to be his.
Exactly. He's showing that the power of God doesn't need an already perfect vessel. It just needs people who are ready, who need it, and acknowledge that. So what we should take away is acknowledging our own need before God. We don't got it all ourselves, Anyways, thank you. We ran out of time. That's always good.
Morning, how you doing? Good. Is that a real smile on that face? You got good posture.
Just physically, mentally, spiritually.
You gonna stand up during the word?
Yeah. Just the stuff going on. It's just way assassination number Deborah. Yeah.